I need a motion to accept the minutes for the October 24th by Jimmy, second by Jim. Any omissions or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. It's all of you.
Okay,
Cybersecurity report.
okay. So I do have the reports. I don't have anything particular to point out. I don't know if there's any questions on any of them, starting with the cybersecurity report.
Looking at the inbound email overview, August was high, dropped in September, October has gone up with even real emails.
Yep.
Do you think that's gonna start increasing in November because of Christmas?
I do.
It
I
did.
think,
It's already started, right?
yeah,
I know
Yeah.
I'm getting, malware emails, most of my emails, like the last 3 weeks.
right. And yeah, certainly the like shipment notifications. So I just caution everybody around making sure people don't usually send, if you're not sure who it's from, don't just click on a shipment tracking or those kind of things. 'Cause they will cause you something.
Your Amazon package won't be here today.
Yeah.
Okay, go to Amazon.
It's
check
lost.
your-
It's lost, you need your order number and your credit card and make sure you track the right place.
There you go. Anything with an urgent call to action question. For sure. We did have a good hot topic area of interest, if you will, which is with AI, one of the big risks is they're gonna start, and actually I've already started, you'll start to see better phishing emails and those type of things, because they'll be, instead of having the language barrier that you see in some of the others, you won't see that anymore. They're gonna look a lot more legitimate as time goes on, so it's a bigger risk that's coming out there. Another thing to mention, since we're on the cybersecurity topic, along with the report, we have Ryan is going to be going to Hartford Central School actually and talking to the kids. And he's doing a little community outreach for the seniors there, talk about not only the cybersecurity profession, but different options in IT and all of that kind of stuff, answer questions.
That's great.
September 14th, I believe it's the 14th. He's going to be going there. We also have, sort of related to cybersecurity, we've been talking to BOCES, and they're going to be coming here December 1st to do a tour with some of their kids. They have a technology program, and then it may lead to an internship here in this as well. So you may hear that come back. Good. I thought I'd mention that since we're sort of on the topic.
Okay. Any other questions for cybersecurity?
The company kind of ties into what you're saying is that I listened to the news this morning, they were talking about the fact that degrees are not weighted the same value for people being hired into the job market. Because even when they graduate from college, they don't have the work skills
Yeah.
that are required. And a program like this, it could get them into interested in going into some information technology.
Yeah.
That's a whole training, it's not just an academic program, it actually trains them to do something, so it could be very efficient, very good efficient.
Yeah, it is. And I've worked a lot in my previous life with SUNY, with their internship programs and being able to help develop the program. Because it's true, that when I grew up, you had to go to college. You needed that degree, you needed that piece of paper. And in IT, it's not so much the case anymore, where you don't have to have an advanced degree to be able to be good in the field. And there's IT field is so broad, I don't think that people really understand that, and especially, the kids that are growing up say, I want to do IT. Well, what do you want to do? There's programming, there's help desk, there's networking, there's servers, there's cybersecurity, there's so many areas, and they're so vastly different. That anything we can do, I think, to show them real world and give them a little taste of what it is, or what the day in the life of this type of a profession is, it can only help them to say, oh, I really love that, or oh my gosh, that's not what I want to do. I wish I'd had those opportunities growing up. I just think would be great. So the more we can do for the kids, the better. And then maybe we can find some good people too.
Just a comment, I run the internship program at Siena Colleges. For the colleges, community colleges and so on, 80% of the interns get a job offer through the intern. 80%.
Yeah,
So it's a great way of, having a pipeline for hiring good people.
absolutely.
You get to see their work ethic and how well they work and determine whether they're a good hire.
BOCES been a great pipeline for us here at the county, so getting something that, goes from BOCES right into, possible, internship first, opportunities here. That's a great pipeline for us. So,
Yeah, well, it's actually worked out well because, one of the hires we've recently made, Chris, who's our project engineer. He was teaching at BOCES, he was teaching the BOCES program before he came to us. And so he's got the ins over there too, so it's kind of helped us with his help to get to the right people over there to work that forward, so. So that's all I have on the cybersecurity report. I don't know if anybody, no questions on that one. Then we can move on to the project. And I apologize, it looks like I'm on 2 pages. I don't have any, I guess the only significant update I would point out is we've been moving forward with a switching project, which anybody that works at the county will be seeing emails. We did a major cut last week. We have another one tonight. So we're going through each department one at a time, well, not department buildings, 1 or 2 at a time, and we're replacing all the switching gear as well as all the wireless gear. So it's been a really big project, very impactful. I think we've been very fortunate that things are going well. So it'll be great when we get that done. Should be done by the end of the year.
One of the subjects came up was in the last meeting. Monthly meeting. People couldn't hear. I went back and listened to it, and there was things that were dropping out, couldn't hear people. You hear people sometimes, we hear people other times, so. And the vendor looked at how he's gonna address it.
Yeah, he's gonna come back on site again. They've been here a few times.
Yeah.
I listened to the meeting on purpose to make sure that it was working because we thought it would be. They've been very good about working with us, and so I think we just have to do some more tweaks. It came from initially us wanting to not have to push the buttons on the mics for people to be able to talk, because people forget, and then that whole person gets, blocked out and you can't hear it. It's not reliable. And so we opened the mics, and after we opened the mics, they had some issues on their system, and the system didn't pick up any sound. And then this time we had the sound, but it's still not adjusted right. So, and we're working with the vendor on that. They will be back out on site for the next meeting.
Dave, you're right, because I had somebody get a hold of me and ask why, at the Friday meeting, why there was so much dead air time.
Yep.
For us to make a decision to do something, so you're just sitting there not doing anything. I said, people are speaking. They said, so I went back and watched. And Roger, you can see his lips move, nothing comes out. And
Yep.
other people, they're speaking, but you can't hear anything. And it sounds like we're all just sitting there waiting for 5 minutes for Bob to say, okay, let's vote or something. And I know you're supposed to hit the mic, but if none of us remember, the
Right.
system doesn't work for us.
So that's what we're trying to go away from.
They're actually all open this time.
Yeah.
It's just that you literally have to get, I noticed mine was far away and I thought it was picking me up. You gotta get right up to it. And
It's all
then,
voice activated now.
Yeah,
and the red ring will go on when it's actually doing
And I think if
something.
you turn your head, like, if I'm gonna
Yeah,
say something
it doesn't take
to Jim,
much.
you can't.
yeah, if you
Doesn't
don't do
take
that
much.
red light, that's on the mic when you're talking, it's not picking anything up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I think it was Mr. O'Brien said something to me about it, and when I pulled it closer, you can see it activating versus being on the other side of the screen. I thought it was, the old ones were good enough to pick that up.
Oh, it works in this room. We don't have microphones.
Yeah.
We have this.
It acts up in this room too, whichever way you're facing.
The only
This
one
should
that
be
was
much
doing
better
it was
now.
Debbie.
I made some good
Debbie was
adjustments.
the only one you could hear every single time.
She's good enough talking.
I think that you're doing it right.
I think it's right. It's
She tells us, I don't know how many times. we
Well,
go to
I don't know, that meeting, you might have been a good thing.
Steve,
And it's a work in progress. Like, I don't know if anybody noticed, but we actually shifted this, a couple of ceiling tiles back to be able to pick this room up a little better. This is the first meeting that has that tweak, if you will. So each one's gonna be different. It's always a fine line with, do you wanna pick up too much or do you not pick up enough? And you gotta find the middle balance. So I know they'll work with us on it. They did good.
Maybe it's training us.
Well, I think it's tweaking the
it's
system
like
and getting
banging your
it
head
set.
against the wall, isn't it, Debbie? You say it all the time.
We had a lot of issues prior to the start of the meeting.
Yeah.
But it's not really our fault. We're not goofing. We're running the system. It's the settings, your IP addresses, we're talking to one another. It isn't us really goofing off.
Oh, didn't think so. I
No.
figured for
I
sure
mean,
it was
I know
technology.
other
Yeah.
computer related or audio.
It's the system, yeah,
The
settings
amount
in there.
the amount we paid for that system should be working properly and should have been working properly from day one. We shouldn't have had all these issues that were caused by us,
Right.
my humble opinion. Okay, moving on, we're dealing with that.
Yep, yeah, we're working through that. So there's no questions on the project, the ticketing report. If there's any questions on that at all?
Oh, wow,
Oh, yeah.
goodness, we're like 318 hours. Okay,
Yeah, and then I do have a couple of other things.
any other questions on the ticket report? Go ahead.
For other business, I have, and I don't know if I'll get the terminology right, so I might need a little help, but I believe a resolution for out-of-state travel for, to be able to purchase airfare. We have Lisa that goes out to a conference with the treasurer's office. It's May 19th to the 22nd, but they like to purchase the airfare in December because it's the cheapest time to get it. So I'll ask that we get a resolution for the out-of-state travel so we can purchase the airfare.
By Tim, second by Cassie.
It is in our travel plan and everything.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, excuse me, Lena,
Why are we flying people to anywhere?
Texas,
Why?
there is an annual conference that they suggest we attend for our Tyler Technology that runs our systems throughout here with information technology with,
I
Oh,
think,
general ledger, everything
I think
else.
we're too poor to be flying people. My humble.
having had that input. Call for a vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Yeah.
That I can.
All the committee members present voted yes.
I was putting it over under on you.
Okay, second.
For the record, I don't think that's gonna be a resolution, resolutions.
Okay.
Vegas is.
What'd you say, Roger? I'm sorry.
I said, I didn't think we needed a resolution, I thought the committee could approve it, but Debbie corrected me.
Dana's trying to ring up his nose.
Said it's a, it is this is not the first time, this parenthetically, we do this every year for the last, how many years?
I've been here. Before I was there, yeah. And the second request is a resolution to be able to sign an intergovernmental agreement, for shared services for the state. It's for a cybersecurity, product initiative by the governor.
What's gonna replace the system we're currently using?
It is, yeah, next year it'll be replacing, yeah.
I need a motion.
What's it doing?
Yeah, you're not getting away that easy. First off, you said one thing, you said New York State.
So the state's providing us with software, they want us to sign an agreement to do that, so it's cybersecurity software, we don't wanna really get into the serious details of who it is, what it is, and all that stuff. But they have agreed to, provide us the software, and as long as we share the data that it generates with them, so they can integrate that into a statewide database of, and see attacks in different places.
So we have a responsibility to supply the state with data.
Yes, in exchange for the
State supplying
software.
us with the software.
Yes.
They're also providing us services
Right.
at the state
But
data.
there's no, it's not like the state's, getting into our
No,
integrated system.
no, it's that they can then piece the puzzle together
Right.
from there. And
Is the state paying the maintenance too?
They're paying all of it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Motion by Jimmy, do you have a second? Second by Tim. Any further discussion?
How you doing?
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Next. That was it.
That was it.
Any other comments coming before the meeting? We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Next meeting.
Oh, wait a minute.
Want
Next
to
meeting.
discuss the next
Late.
meeting? You want to try to do a year-end meeting with all the committees, just run them one after the other? Like
Schedule change.
19,
So we're gonna.
if they have anything, if the committees have any items that need to be addressed.
They have items to adjust. Otherwise, if they don't need to be addressed, you can skip, just for information, skip it.
Have we ever done that before?
Yeah,
Yes,
You
ma'am.
did not do anything.
We used to do it all the time.
I mean, otherwise you're gonna run into.
How quickly you forget, you're not even gone yet.
Christmas Eve would be that Friday.
Learn hard.
The other meetings would be due the day after Christmas, so it's just a way to get the meetings in. If anybody has any business.
And if they don't, we don't need it.
Right.
Cool. So we need a motion for that.
No, just direction for Deb, that's all. Okay, now we're adjourned.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Happy
Thank
Thanksgiving.
you, I'm thinking.
When did it work?
Morning.
You're leaving?
Meeting to order. First up is we'll accept the minutes of October 24th, moved by Dave, seconded by Tim. Any updates, changes, corrections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next up is the clerk of the board reappointment,
Move it.
moved by Dave, seconded by Dan. Any discussion?
I would like to.
That's a whole office. Are you talking about the clerk?
She's the only one that we appoint. Everyone
Reappoint
else is
Debbie.
hired.
Do you have a stump speech?
No, I didn't prepare one.
Can we table this till next month?
No, because
For good luck to doing it without her.
no, because we now have coffee. That's always great.
You're right, Dave.
She's got a leadership to make sure we're in a good humor today.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Now, is this just a resolution goes to the full board?
January second.
January 2nd.
January second.
Okay. Jeff, Tom?
Can I have a Roger point of order question? Can a different board appoint and then a different board, I mean, we make a nomination to appoint, but a different board actually votes on the appointment? Because January 2nd, some of us aren't here. How does that work?
Right, traditionally it's done, the clerk, it's at the pleasure of the appointment, so it can be done really anytime you want. Traditionally, it's done in the ordinance, the new board gets to pick its people, so to speak. My job is a 2-year term that runs, as the law says, concurrent with the board appointing, so mine has to be done on January 2nd. Not
Okay.
me personally, but the county appointing has to be done at a certain time. Others, start when they're appointed or fill terms. So, for example, we were talking about, real property tax, her term will end at the end of this year, but it's still in the midst of the 6-year, I think it's a 6-year term. So hers will be done after her term expires. So if I had quit today, you could appoint somebody at the December meeting and that person would have about 2 weeks and then you'd have to appoint them again in January because of the way mine works. If Laura had quit today rather than at the end of the year, you could appoint somebody right now and that remainder of the term will start for them right now.
Well, like with Debbie, she would not actually be appointed until January.
Right.
But we are nominating now
Yes,
That's, you can do that?
well, because that resolution has to get in front of them somehow,
Okay,
and the folks that aren't their supervisors elect can't do anything right now, so you won't be listed as a sponsor because you won't be here.
right.
We could.
Well, I could list you as a sponsor, but I usually don't because you're not here.
Yeah, no, you won't be listed. Anyone not returning would not be
Right,
listed.
but you can vote on the resolution and saying, you want to put this in front of the board, but it won't be. So the obvious legal answer is no, it depends on what office you're talking about.
And the safety net is the new board votes anyway,
Yes,
and so they're the ones that would not do it, or,
right, and they're the ones that get to pick their people, so to speak.
okay.
Except in the cases where the appointments run out mid-term, in which case they have to be filled out.
Okay,
So as we're sitting here thinking, we also should probably do a resolution to reappoint Melissa as county admin on the same day.
I'll move it.
Moved by Dave, seconded by Tim. Dana?
Are you sure?
Would you like a speech? I wasn't prepared either.
Appointing people that are not prepared?
I don't know. We point them now where they're not thinking about it, because if we wait till January, they might not show up.
Have one for the second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, Jeff, now that we let you make there for a minute,
How's everybody doing?
you survived another election.
Yeah, well, actually, back quick, it actually went very well. We did, everything went smooth, couple little things that was inspector stuff, no, nothing. No machine, everything went smooth, machines, we had total turnout for election day, we had 8,379 voters. Early voting, we had 601 voters that, with a 9-day span, we had 601. We had 567 voters that voted absentee, 28 voters affidavit voted, voted by affidavit. So, yeah, had a good turnout. Everyone liked the machines, it's all positive.
Jeff, how'd that turn out compared to 2 years ago?
I think we checked, yeah, like got
Oh, we had just
300
under a 20
something for,
Yeah, it's about the same. It's just under a 25% turnout for the county
Yeah.
entirely.
overall, we had
That's-
25%.
Pretty much an odd year. It's about 25%.
Dresden had 40% turnout. The town of Dresden, I think Cambridge had like 30%, Easton 30%, so it's pretty
You
good.
only
I think.
need 4 people to vote in Dresden.
Well, yeah, 2 years ago, I think for early voting at 300 people. Yeah, overall, good. A lot of positive feedback. Everyone liked the new equipment. And as long as we're talking about new equipment, when we did order our new equipment from Carter, we did overlook 2 of our Verity print, and those are on-demand printing machines. And like I said, with all we got the quotes and we tried to cut back and help out a little bit, and so with after all our ordering, we did overlook, like I say, 2 of our Verity prints. So we couldn't talk to Al, and we have our tier grant funds, and what's left in that is $12,247.96 that are already available in our possession. So we want to use that grant, use that up, and we want to purchase those 2 prints that we overlooked. And we already talked to Al, and that's available and it's in our possession. So we reached out to Carter and got a new quote for those 2 prints. As the 2 prints, printers come with it, all the licensing support and the shipping and handling. And that equipment will go on the same contract that we got all our equipment before, which is a 5-year plan. And that quote was $14,154. So we want to use that grant up because we have that for those 2 prints. And that balance of 190604 we can pick that up with our repair and maintenance line on our budget that we have. So that's what we'd like to do with that.
Moved by Tim, seconded by Dan. Any further discussion? Dana?
Repair and maintenance is a line is $1,000, and how much you said that this would come out of that? $19 or
No, 1906.
1906?
So, yeah, 1906 on that one.
You don't have enough money in your 2024 budget already.
No, it's on our old
What,
old
23?
budget.
Budget line.
We have that left.
$20,000.
Well, it's only $3,000 budgeted in this year, but
Yeah, no, that's on our old budget.
repair and maintenance,
4320. Oh,
right? Repair and maintenance in 2023 amended.
Year to date. The amended budget was $3,000, and none of it's in.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we have one other thing.
Yeah, I had,
Go ahead, Jeff. Yeah, Jeff has one other thing to add.
I'll jump in after you guys are done.
and I just have one other thing. I'd like to, our winter conference is next month, January. It's in Albany. And we do it in our travel plan and we have money on our conference line. And I'd like to stay over in Albany. And because during the day we have our normal meetings, but I like the networking after, and I want to discuss with some of there's a few other counties that also purchased the Hart. And I like to network in those counties and discuss how they turned out with their election also. So I'd like to stay,
So you're looking for approval because it's
Approval.
within the 60 miles.
right, it's 54 miles. A little less than.
Moved by
50 miles.
Tim. Second. By Dave. Any further discussion? Dan?
I was just wondering, was it 1 night or 2 nights
It's
you're staying?
actually 3 nights.
3 nights you're staying the night?
Yeah, and it's in, so it's February, January and plus the weather, I don't know.
Dana?
There's $1,000 left. That's sufficient, I think. Right?
Yeah, there's enough cover.
Jim?
Are you driving or flying?
Flying.
All in-
Take the train.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Your turn, Tom?
Thank you.
Yeah, one of the concerns we have is the presidential elections coming up next year. Primary on April 2nd, the general election in November. You remember 4 years ago, with the presidential election, and we had early voting over here at Burgoyne Avenue and election day. People were parking up and down on the highway because we had so many people on. So we really need a better plan on how to deal with parking in the back of the building or direction. We really like to see some parking in front of the building better utilized and revamped. So just putting it out there to your attention that this is coming. That the presidential election will be heavily voted at, and we really need some help with parking and a plan. I just want to put that on the table.
We'd like that front area. Open that up and take where the grass and it's that circular drive, it's kind of wasted. We could take that right out, make that big parking area right out in front. Well, that's just a,
I think what we can do is prepare for that election and have people over there actually directing traffic. Our county attorney is really good at that
And he's gonna be
and has
retired.
experience.
Well, you remember with,
I'll have time.
We gotta pay him per diem to come back and manage it.
when we did COVID, we had a great plan for COVID on helping direct people where to park.
yeah, it is kind of,
We need something like that.
And there's ways to modify the entry, and that's it. It's just that we've got people in the habit, so we're gonna have some help. We're gonna get them out of the habit,
Yes.
or give them a new habit.
Okay, Sam?
Yeah, my question was, result from the election. I guess I assume there's some other assumptions on that. By the machines being more modern, we'd be able to get the results in quicker, so the public could know quicker as to who was, well, let me finish, Jeff, okay? All right, and I'm saying this because other counties around us that have rural areas as well, for some reason, they can get results in quicker than we can, and I know our system has always been, people or have to bring them down from Putnam, Dresden, whatever, to drive them on down, all right? But none of those are official anyways until actually you're put into the machine with the actual ballots and stuff. There's a time frame before you do your official count. And there are people in town, especially the elderly, want to see how the elections went in their towns. And they fall asleep because some of the results don't come into real late. All right, so I guess my concern is there's gotta be a way that if other counties can do that, and we can come up with the numbers a little bit quicker.
Well, I mean, we have to wait till they get to us before, you know.
Well, you could, but see, that's my point, okay? There's gotta be ways other counties do it. They don't have to wait for people necessarily get there before they have the counts in.
Well, they do it the same way. They gotta get the
They
cards.
put that in, but I'm sure there are numbers that are called in. It used to be done now.
No, you can't. You have to upload them now.
Okay,
You
well,
don't call them in.
but I'm just saying, okay, that there has to be a quicker way that Washington County doesn't always have to be the last one with their counts. That's all. I'm not being critical. I'm just saying if there's a way we can improve it, we need to do it, because that's what the public's looking for.
2 points to that, Sam. One is that we did try to implement a way to do it quicker, didn't go as well as we planned. And we're hopeful to make that improvement on that.
Okay, so there is a way we can improve it, do it.
Yes.
Okay, that's not what Jeff was saying. He said it's gonna be done. That's what
Well,
my
the
point comes in.
company, I'm gonna try to do it faster, but.
Well, okay, as long as it's, yeah,
The other thing is that in the past years, when we did do it by phone, numbers were transposed. And
Right, understand.
so calling in is not effective.
okay, understand.
Can't call.
But there is something you can work out to try to correct that.
Well, we had that in place this year, and it didn't go smooth. It was the first time we tried to do it. And to be honest, the last ones to get in are Putnam, Dresden, Whitehall, and Hampton, because they're the farthest ones away. They didn't get into almost 4 of them.
And Greenville was in that much also.
Yeah, they were right up there. Part of it is distance, because you're transporting a piece of material in a
Right.
fob to us.
Right.
And it takes some time.
No, I understand that. I understand it. We went through that 2 years before.
So we are-
Correct that. That's-
And we just had a representative from Hart here yesterday, with a list of things that we improve on. So that's some of them, how we could make that improve and have it.
Thank you. That was the answer to my question. I was moving forward. Thank you.
Just my only comment, because I'm chairman, and I can say that it frustrates me sometimes that we need to spend more money for instant gratification. So if it comes down the line that we had to spend money to know, because I stand up till wherever to see one, you know, if you have to spend more money just because you can't wait another couple hours, I wouldn't be in favor of spending the money, but that's just me. Brian?
Yeah, I was gonna say the integrity of the election, way more important, whether we have them by 11 o'clock, that would be my concern. And then on the parking issue, I remember at one time, we did have a plan to pave that front, we can dig that back out if we want to. But it's, you know, everything costs money.
That's your-
But for the election, we wanna make sure people have it. They get counted right, that's.
Jim was next.
Spending more money for instant gratification. It's not good.
Oh, it always frustrates me, because we don't want to wait for 15 minutes and we want to spend more money. That's my pet peeve. Go ahead, Jim.
You know, paying attention in White Creek and I felt like the numbers came in quicker.
What's your address? I can send you. So.
I felt like the numbers came in quicker this year than they have in years past. I think the last election cycle, I mean, you had the numbers up on the webpage before 11 o'clock at night, where last couple of times I was like 11:45, you know, so felt like. 11:30, I thought you were quicker.
No, I was just gonna say that you can have both, have integrity, for the numbers, Brian, and maybe do faster.
Well, that's why you can't call them.
That's what
That's why you have to.
Well, he's working on something. We don't know that.
You have to plug them in order to have integrity, because they can't transpose them with the.
But it's not official at that point anyways, you know what I'm saying? There's a time frame you have to wait.
I think it'd be nice if during their, is 3 days down there, he conferences the other election people and figure out how they do it. Is there a way to do it?
He's networking.
Yeah, I would, you know, what Sam's saying, I don't disagree with, because Warren County, you know, they're pretty large, you know, pretty vast. And
Well, that's why this time we had, as soon as they shut down the scanners, the phone phones, we had the couriers just take out the V drives and bring them right to us. Not stay there like we last year, election year, and close everything down and then bring them to us. We had couriers that were strictly get the V drive, the rest of the inspectors close everything down. You bring the V drives right to us. So that's what we did this year. So
Sounds
it was
good.
quicker this year.
So overall, you guys are working on it and looking for options, so I call that subject good. Are you gonna throw something else on when I
Oh,
called it good? This is it, your last one. Go ahead.
So basically, just look at the geography. Warren County is almost square.
We got.
We're in the center of a county that's top on. So to get from that top point down to Port Edward, unless we have police escort and they're gonna go full sirens and drive 90 miles an hour, we're not gonna cut that by a lot of time. That's just the way
You
it
did
is.
it.
You know,
So the idea of the plan is just to tell you what the plan is.
I think we just covered it a minute ago.
Well, almost, 9 o'clock. Polls closed, within 10 minutes after that, that information should leave the poll site. That's what we're working on. Where in the past, we waited until the poll site was absolutely closed and everybody was done, then it left the poll site. That's a difference of 45.
So there are ways it can be done, Brent, you just can't say.
Okay.
Where it can, but
We're on to the next subject.
Can I have a comment?
Go ahead, Dana.
I don't know why you're rushing through all, because it's unofficial anyway, until you count the absentee ballots that still are coming in the mail for a few days, right? So you're gonna rush and spend money for something that's still unofficial. You got votes still coming in.
Come up with that.
Dan,
We want to know if they should buy.
I want to switch to a different topic that you just covered, and that is the parking over there at the polling place. Every 4 years is presidential election, and I can't see spending a lot of money on improved parking for one time every 4 years. And if you have to park out on the road, I think we better off DPW, put some cones up rather than to spend $500,000 over there. Because the rest of the year, every year for the other 3 years, you don't have a parking ground. And so I'd be cautious before we spend a lot of money on
Like
parking.
those on wheels, you drive through, voting.
okay, so that's something to look
But
at.
the building's also, remember, the building's empty.
Right.
So we're gonna be putting a lot more people over there, and there's parking out back for them.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be running WIC clinics over there, we're gonna be running immunization clinics over
It's not
there.
just for election.
So eventually, I think, and when we talked about this, it's been in the hopper since we bought the building here, like Melissa said, there were plans, so we're only halfway there right now. But for the interim, we can certainly direct traffic in, because there are entrances we did for the clinics. The immunization,
That
like,
was great.
nobody went in the front door except unless you were handicapped. So for a couple hours and one day every 4 years, like you said, we could certainly make that part of it happen very easily. But eventually, when you put the other half, that people in that other half of that building, there's gonna be a lot of coming and going. And if you look over the public health parking lot, there's these size.
Okay. On the inside of the curb, is when you go around the traffic circle there on the inside, is there a curb or can you park on the grass like we do at the fair?
Sidewalk side, there's a curb, on the other side towards the center, it's just grass.
Well, then why can't we just spray paint some parking spots and park on the grass like you do at the fair? Why is that so funny, Jim?
Oh, no.
That's a low cost way of fixing it. That's
Right.
the Republican way.
End of story.
Okay, we're done with Board of Elections. So the first,
Oh, I'm sorry, Tim.
you guys are all set. So the first other we have is Al was unable to be at the meeting today and he requested a similar request to Carrie's. And he would like to have travel okay for May 19th to May 22nd. It was in his travel plan. He just needs a resolution to allow him to do that.
Where to?
Same place, Indianapolis. And Melissa would like to add to it, so we do it all in one resolution.
Yeah, because the treasurer just extended the same invitation to a purchasing coordinator. She has never gone to it before, so, yeah, I'd like to add her to that, to also attend.
And moved by Dave, seconded by Tim. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Does anybody have any other? Good girl.
Next one.
Really well.
Yeah, I know. Go to the next one. Okay, everybody's okay with the idea. If there's anything to come before our committee, that we will do a stack them on the 19th of December. Anybody have a problem with that?
No.
Okay, we're all good with that. Government ops. Is there anything else? Is it no?
Thank you, Jess.
There.
Good enough?
Ryan, we're practicing 19th, let's get going.
All right. If Brian was sitting in your seat, we have a quorum. All right, thank you. We have a quorum.
We're here.
All right.
So was that instant gratification?
All right, call us act planning towards the meeting to order. First motion of business to accept the minutes.
So moved.
So moved by Dave, second
Yes.
by Brian. All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
I don't know why you're sitting over there. You're up there. Make the first.
Speed committee meeting.
Well, I timed that Kathy, so you know.
All right, I'm gonna shock all of you because I'm gonna be like less than 5 minutes here, so.
Don't say that.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, you might make it my lunch.
Okay, so as in actual fact, I really, because we were unsure of the timing on this meeting, I don't have a lot to put in front of you, but I do want to correct a misstatement from our last meeting. When we were talking about the changes and procedures in solar law, there was a miscommunication between somebody at Ag and Markets and our office in terms of the statement that Article 10 was going away for solar. It is in fact not going away. There really haven't been any changes, and although there are discussions in the background amongst the legislature, there is nothing on the table that anybody is aware of. So the way that it remains is if you are 25 megawatt or greater commercial solar system, it goes through ORIS. If you're 20 to 24, you have a choice of going through ORIS or using local regulations. If you're under 20, then it's basically seeker and local law. So again, it has not changed, and as of right now, there aren't any changes on the table. However, one of the things that, just for everybody's awareness, that is under discussion is, as we all know, solar panels collect energy and feed them to the grid. But you can't transfer all of that energy at the same time. So that's created an industry of batteries that store that energy prior to putting it in the grid. So there have been some discussions about potential regulation when you are putting battery storage facilities on the same site as solar panels. So we don't know what that looks like, but apparently there are public safety concerns that are being discussed in terms of what's reasonable to regulate, et cetera, et cetera. So again, I don't have a definite on what regulation may be coming, other than to tell you that it is being discussed, that there are some potential changes when you're combining storage and panels on the same site.
I'm sure there's also a conversation in regard to the regulation of who's ever selling power, they have the right to sell power. So if you're storing a whole bunch of energy on site, you're not gonna be able to sell the power. You're still gonna have to, somebody's gonna have to sell that for you, National Grid or whoever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, it is an emerging industry, so, as you get more companies delving into it, the more questions there are gonna be and the more things that are gonna have to be asked.
So the battery storage facilities get the same open permit that solar does, or does the towns have any say?
Well, and I don't know what the history of why this discussion is happening, but it may very well be that somewhere out there, somebody tried to put a storage facility on the same site as a solar power and running it through ORIS. So I'm gonna, usually when things like this get addressed at the state level, it's because something drove it. I don't know what that is. I can only say that there's discussion about how to handle stuff.
That's some plug power. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, the battery storage, that is an absolute given on any solar farm, large solar farm, or on some? Well, I mean, because I'm not aware of any battery storage on the two in Easton. It's
Probably.
never been mentioned, but
Probably not, but there is the possibility, and perhaps it has either been proposed or actually developed somewhere in New York State, that somebody tried to do both on the same site.
all right, no, I'm just curious, because that's a given, it's not a given that every solar farm has that storage facility. Okay.
No, and in fact, again, we don't know what the regulation is going to look like. Maybe they will say it can't be done. you know, we don't know.
And there'll probably be regulation for residential versus commercial use as well. So, somebody who has solar panels on their roof that want to buy a Tesla storage battery, and then they have that energy stored for case of an emergency. So there'll probably be residential versus commercial use too.
If the state wants it, like Jay said,
Yeah.
they will bypass us.
Yeah.
And they won't even ask us.
Any question on that solar issue?
Okay, so the only other thing is just to let you know that we are making progress on broadband with the Hudson Valley Wireless allocation. We've had a number of meetings with USDA. Unfortunately, we're sort of a square peg trying to fit into their round hole of how they manage their program. But because this was a CDS award through Congresswoman Stefanik, their USDA is basically trying to figure out how to make it work. But our hope is that we will be able to get everything contracted with Hudson Valley Wireless and start getting connections next year for those addresses.
You just need to bevel the corners.
Like, so we,
We're pegging the round hole,
yeah, that's it.
All right.
Okay, that's all I have.
All right, thanks, Laura. Go ahead. Go about it.
Perhaps, this would be a good forum, to tell them about that, dedicated.
It might not be.
Yeah.
Leading.
So
Thought maybe we ought to, let that be a little bit more public.
Okay, so, one of the things that happens amongst probably a variety of state agencies is when you put a contract out there, sometimes there are things in the contract that may not necessarily be related to the actual contract. And within the broadband contracts that were part of the New York Broadband for All program, there was a stipulation in the contract that tied funding repayment to the providers, at least some, if not all, I'm not sure, but it tied payment to the providers to sufficient funding for Medicare through New York State.
Medicaid.
I mean Medicaid, sorry, yes, Medicaid, yes. So it basically what it said is that if there was a budget shortfall within the state, it could have impacted how the providers actually got reimbursed for that broadband.
So it tells them our money disappeared. Great.
Thank you.
So we have paid the price for broadband.
Well, we still be paying the provider, the providers have to pay,
Well, so we paid the price, we gave up all our money, so they could pay.
Yeah.
So we actually paid for it.
All right. Next order of business, soil and water. We have a consideration for an appointment of a large member to the Soil and Water Conservation District.
How large are they?
With it?
How large are they?
At large, sorry. Just snorted. I just snorted. All right. All right, so the member at large, Representative Washington County Soil and Water District's Board of Directors will expire on December 31st, 2023. John Rager is currently appointed to this position. He plans to resign from the board. The board would like to recommend Washington County resident Sherry Slater to this appointment. Ms. Slater has 15 years of conservation and forestry experience as an instructor at BOCES and they believe that she would be a great asset to the board. We ask that you appoint her to the board of directors as a member at large representative. So moved by Dave, second by Brian and Jay. Any further dialogue? Go ahead, Dan.
Where is she from?
Is she from Salem?
She's from Salem.
Salem, yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Being a Slater, you would have thought Granville, right?
No, I don't.
Slate down.
Oh, my God. He's here all week trying to be a motion on the floor. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, carries. All right, same as the last two meetings, other business. Any other business? Go ahead, Laura. Oh, Brian? Oh, that's right. Brian, go right ahead.
So we have some items for inclusion, and we also have Ag District 8, which I'll do. And report for Ag District 8, that's the Ag District that's up for review right now. The Ag and Farmland Protection Board did meet and went over the report. Ag District 8 is basically the towns of Salem and Hebron with a few parcels in Granville and Hartford. There's a few large family dairies within the district. Woody Hill, Chambers, and Gettys are in Hebron, McEachran's, along with smaller beef farms and vegetable operation in Christmas tree farms. Obviously, Battenkill Creamery, milk processor. Oh, yeah. Yep. I keep thinking of Granville. Battenkill Creamery processing milk along with Garden Works, obviously, in production, but also a large agritourism draw for the Capital District. Ag support services in the district include A&J Agway, Carrollville, Cargill on the edge of the district. Serving obviously the district, Washington County and the larger New England area. Battenkill Kitchen, a shared use kitchen, located in Salem within the district. And new and emerging crops within the district include hemp and cannabis. And there are 12 easements held by ASA within the district for 2,206 acres of conserved land. Currently, there is 37,389 acres in the district. We did have a request for a 5-acre parcel by Michael and Francis Emmond from Granville to be included in the district, which would increase that by 5 acres, obviously. And there's 21,458 acres receiving an ag exemption within the district. So 57% of the district is in production by the exemption standard. So it meets the standards. We're recommending that Ag District be recertified with the inclusion of that parcel.
Yeah, motion to recertify, someone by Jay, second by Brian. Conversation?
Yeah, just, are the nurseries also in, like, Baby Springs, are they like? I don't think they are.
They should be, yes, yeah.
And then there's one in Salem, too, right? You in this.
Yeah, they would all be.
That's right.
Yeah.
We just didn't mention them. I
Right,
wanted to
yeah,
make sure
right.
they were included.
Yeah.
Do we have any, Deb?
Well, we did have a letter from Sheldon that wanted to be removed from it. So he wanted,
Sheldon.
Albert Sheldon requesting on.
Is it the Hudson Headwaters?
Yeah.
Is it the Hudson Headwaters parcel?
That's up for Ag District 8.
That's such a.
Do we already do that?
We already did that January.
Oh,
Perfect, right now.
this came in November 22, so.
Yep, it was
Okay.
done in January 2023.
So that one's done. All right.
Perfect, that's what I want. Any other question? Oh, do we need to?
I just have, three, he already talked to you about Emmon, okay, that was the, one in Hebron. There's two others, two inclusions that we have to go over. One is Raymond Morgan in the town of Hartford. And what they've done with this property is, this is the map, and I can pass that around. This is the aerial photo where they have like little triangle pieces on them around the outside.
Ag district or is it?
Yes.
This is an inclusion, we do inclusions every year.
Right,
Yeah.
That's correct.
we were voting on the ag district and I wanted to.
What?
Right.
It says Hartford. so I
It's
don't-
outside of 8, yeah.
And so it's not in it.
So we should make the motion to,
Yes.
yeah, so motion on the floor to approve recertified Ag District 8.
Oh,
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? That carries.
And these went before the Ag and Farmland Protection Board when we did meet, and there's that one there in Hartford where they've got some little pieces that have to be, included into the ag district, 2 small triangular pieces. And then there's a larger piece in Whitehall under Nichols that, we want to do an inclusion, and I'll pass that around and you can see the farmland where they're farming and it continues through here and up around.
So the
So there's
portion
2
of
inclusions.
Hartford that's in District 8, there's a different portion in Hartford. It's a
Yeah,
different
right,
district than what you're saying.
Right, it's an inclusion. I'll
What
pass that around.
district is that in?
That'd be
I
good.
don't know.
We don't know.
I can go on that one. Seven.
Executive.
Yep. I should say, I don't know, I've got to keep it like that. Okay, so Nichols, the one in Whitehall is in Ag 1 and the other one is in Ag. Or 7.
So we need a motion to approve, include these. I move it. Moved by Jay. Second by Dave. All in favor, any further dialogue? All in favor, say by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries. Any other business? Go ahead. Deb.
I just mentioned that the appointments to the Ag and Farmland Board are due to expire at year end, so those members will need to get reappointed.
Move the appointment of full board.
It's Renee, Faith Kelly, Kevin Armitage, Tom Gordon, and Shelley Woodman. Meg Sutherland is on, her appointment is still current, but the other 5 need reappointment.
Was there any,
Also, would have to reappoint whoever you.
That's an automatic.
Automatic.
that comes with a gig. Go ahead, Laura.
So I suggest that we reach out to Tom Gordon before we appoint you, he's not that able to make most of the meetings.
Shelley McKernan.
Yeah.
We wanna wait till
You can reach out to them.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can wait,
I
but
think that we
it's-
wait till the summer meeting, so, yeah,
Yeah,
but we'll,
it's
sure, yeah, but we'll get these, yeah.
And they were both ag businesses, Tom and Shelley.
Yeah.
Ag businesses, okay.
No, I
They were
think they're
both
the
listed
farmer.
as farmer.
They were farm.
Farmer.
Yeah, farmer, okay.
Kevin is the ag business.
Oh, right.
All right, so we'll do that in December. So we will have a December 19th meeting. All right,
The town of Hampton finished their ag and farmland protection plan, and they will be sending it down for review at some point, so the ag and farmland protection.
why don't you just bring it with you, Dave?
We'll have to.
Because the board hasn't approved it yet.
Oh, okay.
Here's our 6 field.
Oh, man, Jesse just took a shot, right across the bow.
Two to be removed and one to be added. We're good to go.
Any other thing to come before this committee? All right, we are adjourned. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.